Hello everyone. I just had wicked fun. If you'd like to join me making botanical gel prints with mostly black, well, all black and white, then that's what I'm going to do today. But what I want to show you that I did, I made a series of prints where it was the first pull, the second pull, and the third pull. But I got better at it as I went along. So here's the first pull, the second pull, and the third pull. So I'd like to show you how I figured that out, because I used to get those kind of prints and wonder how the hell did I get that. So anyways, table, me, paint on my hands, you sitting behind your phone or your tablet or probably your television. Let's make some art together, okay? See ya.
Everyone. Okay, so this is what I'm planning on doing today. I want to force myself to use deli paper, because deli paper, if you've never used deli paper in your art before, you're going to want to. And I don't know why I don't use it more often. I think it's because my sheets are small. Deli paper, this is what I bought. I bought it off of Amazon. It just says deli paper. It's 8 by 10.75, and it comes in a box of 500 sheets. So I'm going to use that deli paper, my 8 by 10 gel plate. I'm going to stick to some basic colors because I have another collage in mind. I definitely want to do black and white. Black and white with deli paper is beautiful, because I have to show you something. Hold on, is this even going to fit on this table? Let me look at my camera. Yes, this sheet right here. See this? This is a piece of deli paper that I printed forever ago, and it's been in my stash, and I've never found a place to work with it until today, until a couple of days ago. But this piece of deli paper, see how the colors that are behind it show through? Deli paper becomes clear once it's printed, once it's glued down. So what I love about working with black and white deli paper is that you do get black and white, but you also get black and something else. So I think I would really enjoy having a bunch of these papers that I can play with on my next collage. And I'm going to try to scale it down a little bit. All right, so I've got black and white. I've got raw umber and raw sienna, which are just beautiful grungy colors that I really enjoy. Let me show you what else I have. Okay, I did something the other day that was kind of cool. All right, so I've got a couple of commercial stencils. I generally don't use them that often because I want my work to look like my work and not somebody else's. But I've got here here are commercial stencils that they're just very generic. They don't have a particular style. They're just geometrics and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of stencils that look like that. This doily that gives me great joy. And a bunch of really basic, just geometric stencils. But what I want to tell you that I did the other day was these things, when I use these stencils, they stick together, and I end up ruining them trying to pull them apart because the acrylic paint is very sticky. So what I did the other day was I bought a birthday candle because my mom turned 90. So here's the zero part of her 90. And I took this birthday candle and I ran it over all of my stencils. And they are not sticking to, none of them are stuck to each other, and they've been in a pile for days. So I've got a bunch of geometric stencils here that I'm going to enjoy using because they're just basic. This is sticky. There's nothing I can do to keep this thing from being sticky because its nature is sticky. Although, no, it's just going to stay sticky. And then I have my spirit beings, which I've enjoyed working with because they're sort of mysterious. Okay, so I have those kinds of things, but I also have a large collection. Let me get these out of the way. Hold on. I have a large collection of botanicals. And I have said this before, but you can't, give me that. You can't go wrong working with botanicals. So over the course of the past, I don't know, I've lived in my little house for about 3 years, and I've been doing my channel for, a few months. I've just picked some weeds out in my yard, and I don't think these will survive being waxed, but I've got a bunch of weeds out in my yard, and they're all very pretty, and I want to make a lot of botanicals. I want to make them fairly simple. I'll tell you what I want to show you. The other day in my last video, I made a bunch of black and white, not my last video, a few videos before. I made a bunch of botanical style videos just in black and white that I used in a number of collages. And I gotta tell you, black and white, if you're trying to figure out how to collage and you're trying to figure out contrast like I am, you can't have enough black and white. So I use these trays from dollar store, but I've got a whole bunch of these botanicals, and I use a sheet of deli paper to keep them from sticking to the bottom of the tray. But that's what we're going to do. So if you want to hang out, let's hang out. I'm gonna get started, and it is about 8 degrees in my studio this morning. Autumn has come to New Hampshire. It is not awesome in here. Anyways, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to make them on this. Look at how this piece of paper, this deli paper, fits on here almost perfectly. And that's the planio. Oh, before I get too far along, I have some texture plates that I made. These are made with a glue gun. If you haven't made these yet, they're so much fun. Drizzle it on there, make some dots, whatever, piece of packaging. We're going to do some textures and stuff like that. Goodness, I'm jumping around. I'm jumping around all over the place. I also have a bunch of hand-cut masks. Now this is what started this birthday candle thing. These things stick together like glue, and it's almost more work than it's worth taking them apart. But look at, nobody's stuck. Nobody's stuck. So if you make your own masks, these are made on just regular cardstock, like just regular cardstock. I cut them all out, and they've got paint on them now, but once it dried, birthday candle, guys, birthday candle. So I've got those as well. So I don't know how much talking I'm going to do because I don't really know where I'm going to go, but you guys can hang out if you feel like it. I've got a pile of newsprint that I'm going to use as roll-off sheets, which will also turn into very lovely art. And I'm going to get started, and I'm going to start with the simplest thing, which is black and white. Let's just start with black because it's here. Okay. My brayer fell into my water. All right. New gel printers. You have to pick your brayer up and put it down over and over again. Otherwise, your paint just stays on the brayer. Okay. So what I have learned about creating these pieces of art is that all you need, I'm going to start out with the worst possible stuff to work with, which is baby's breath. It is a nightmare. But these pieces, hold on, these pieces have been used so many times that they're not as ill-tempered. What I want is just a bunch of little botanical looking things that I can chop up and use in collage. And I'm just going to fill this. You know what? This is probably going to turn into one of those things that I regret doing because baby's breath is all these little babies. All these little babies' breath are going to end up on everything. So I'm going to start with just a sheet. One of the things that are that's really nice about working with deli paper is that you can see every detail. So I can see when I press down on this that I'm getting detail. I'm getting look at, see how thin that line is? So these will come out. Even though baby's breath is not my favorite thing to work with. Got to start somewhere. So I'm going to end up with, watch this. So this piece of paper, once it's laid down on top of something else, whatever's underneath is going to show through, which is very nice. Now I don't know how this is going to read. There's still a fair amount of paint on here, so I'm going to pull that as well. And I might get something a little grungier looking, but I actually put quite a bit of paint. Quite a bit of paint on there. Let's try not to get this, even though this sweater has turned into a paint sweater, I'd rather it doesn't look like, I'd rather it looks a little less like a paint sweater. Okay. Let's see what we get. I'm very stuck down. This is grungy, but it's still black and black and white is a problem solver. Okay, let's pull these little things off and see what's left underneath it. Because what's underneath it will make a lovely next layer. Got a handful of baby buds. Okay, let's take that up. Let's just pull that up on a piece of newsprint. Because the newsprint, even though the newsprint is not white, it is a nice soft look. Now, I want to show you guys this. This is my Princeton Catalyst wedge, which makes a great Baron because it's soft and pliable. And we should be able to pull everything up off of this. Here's a nice grungy looking print that's going to be very fun in some sort of a collage. Okay, I've got a bunch of debris on here, but whatever. I'm going to keep going with black, and I'm going to see if I can't find perhaps another type of botanical. Let's roll this thing out. So this can be repetitious because what I'm looking to do, I want to stock up. I want to stock up on a bunch of things. This has got debris in it, whatever. I'm going to, and I don't know that I've even used, well, this has been used before. Let's see what happens to it. Yep, those are totally stuck together. Let's see what happens with this thing. And let's see. Sure. Let's do that. See, I can get right in between those little flower spikes so that I get definition. we'll also play around with just some white. Because once you have white, there's one guy. Oh, those are actually, look how pretty that one came out. That's pretty. Let's do one more. One more Deli print. Deli paper print. Not sure if this will be useful or not. Not quite as dark, but still pretty. Let's see what we can do with these things. They're going to dry on my envelopes that I like to store them in. I'm going to have to figure something else out. I don't want them to stick to everything. All right. Let's pull this with newsprint. These could stay as they are because, you know, with collage, at least the way I like to work with it, I don't use these in their entirety. I use them in their pieces. Grungy and interesting, but there's some pretty textures on that. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we've got under. Let's see what's buried beneath. Oh, some of these are really pretty. I've been using these for years, and some of these are very, very pretty. So your wildflowers, they don't have to be flowers. They can be weeds. I only have a couple of things that actually grew in my yard intentionally. Even now, right now it's autumn in New Hampshire. Let me get that leaf off of there. It's autumn in New Hampshire. And in probably a month and a half, there won't be any, there will be nothing alive out there. It won't be long before our season arrives, our winter season. Okay, this one, I've always had good results with it. This one is quite lovely also. Let's see. Let's see if this will survive another printing. This is almost like a bird of paradise, but it's just a weed. Try not to cross over on that. Just a weed from my yard. So for you guys that have been doing this for a while, you know what I'm up to right now. But if you're new, if you're exploring gel printing and you're trying to figure out how it works is exactly the way I'm doing it right now. You just keep on pulling. You put some paint down. It'll be too much. It won't be enough. You won't know until you pull the print. And you'll learn something every time. Every time you pull a print, you'll learn something about technique that will inform your next print. This one is surviving. If you're gentle with these things, they can survive. But you do have to be gentle. You have to treat them with very kid glove-ish. All right, let's pull this with newsprint. So people always ask, so I'll mention it even though I've mentioned it in every video. Newsprint. I get this at Home Depot in the moving department. It is not archival. And what archival means is it is not designed to last forever. I'm learning that copy paper kind of is. Copy paper is intended to not break down with time. Oh, look at these pretty things. But newsprint is designed to be an economical use of paper. Let me get some more of that out. I've got a whole bunch of it chopped up because I use so much of it. I love these roll-off sheets, guys. We'll play with those in a little while. You'll be able to see what I'm up to with those. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more botanicals because I'm down to. Look at these pretty things. This I grew intentionally. Those are weeds. This is a weed. And this, everybody says it's a weed, but it was in my yard when I moved in. Now you see this stuff that's building up on this plate for newbies. When you pull that off, you get a whole pile of deliciousness. Well, you either get grunge or deliciousness. It depends on your perspective. I personally really like that look. Okay, let's see. That looks fragile. This is not fragile. I have been using this flower for quite a while. It doesn't seem to mind. It doesn't seem to mind being used over and over again. I am thinking a little bit about maybe getting a couple of strips out of each area, so I'm sort of setting them a little bit off to the side so that I can maybe get 2 pieces. Oh, this is a tiny little thing. I'm not going to bother with that one. But let me look at this fragile thing. Let's see. Nah, let's just pull it. Let's just pull it. By the way, deli paper has a shiny side and a dull side. I usually print on the dull side, but I don't know why. Just kind of got into the habit of doing that. I guess I'm thinking that the shiny side might not accept the paint quite as much. See, go through and be careful with this. Go through and get every little last detail. It'll be very rewarding that you've taken the time to press this in and get those tiny little shapes. Okay. I got a good amount of paint off that time. Oh, these are so pretty. Let me try. Let's see what we get. This looks like it's going to be fairly thin and grungy, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, we're not going to get a lot. There's not much left on this, but Deli paper will accept more layers. But I have to tell you, when you're trying to lay this thing down, when you're trying to lay the deli papers down on collage, very, very grungy. Let's see what's hidden underneath, shall we? Let's do that. I lay them down in these envelopes with the paint side up so that I might get another life out of them. Let them dry. This little thing. Okay. One more sheet. They're still pretty. And if you can get, see how this is, let me show you this. See how there's a lot of thickness in here? If you can pull that off before you get down to this sheet, look at how clean these are. You can get some really, really clean edges. Those are just as lovely as the deli paper. This one's a little bit grungy. That doesn't mean it won't be happy. All right, I'm going to turn off. I'm going to get organized here. And now I'm going to play around with some geometric stuff. I said that, but I've got one more group of plants I'd like to play around with. I haven't used them in a while. And I'd like to get some paint on them. See if I can get them to last a little bit longer. And let's try to get a cleaner last sheet on the newsprint than I got the last time. Let's try that. Well, be careful, guys. This is dangerous work. Okay, let's roll that off. And let's take these guys. Put him. This is pretty. I'll put that there. This here. And I've got one lonely little leaf. Because this deli paper is waxed, it doesn't absorb the paint, which is why we can get a couple of prints out of each. The paint is just getting on the background. But we can get, see that paint is, you can't see it, I can see it because the window's on my left. It's still very shiny. These actually fit really nicely on this. All right, let's see if we can get up a bunch of paint. I follow an artist named Kit Bell who has developed a highly sophisticated, I'm going to use this piece. I'm going to go in and try to pull up more of this because before I go, look, see all this paint that's around here? Before it dries, I want to get it off because that will leave behind a cleaner impression. And I'm using this piece of newsprint because newsprint is highly absorbent. Let's see if we can get most of that paint off. Okay, even though that's just very, very ghostly, it is a lovely ghost. Okay. You. See we've got a little bit clean impressions here, sort of, kind of. Come here, you. All right, let's pull this last thing. Oh, there's a leaf. So just for people that are wishing that they had a supply like this, find a book, put a couple pieces of paper towel, if it's not a really, really big book, and flatten these things out inside of that book. Leave them there for, you know, oh, looky guys, look, this is exactly, see how, look at the difference between that and this. All this smudginess is gone because I carefully tried to remove it. Look at these beautiful things. Okay, I don't know what we're going to do with them. And to be honest with you right now, I don't care because I'm having fun and I'll figure it out. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off. And I'm going to clean it off with, actually, I'm going to clean it off with a piece of photocopy paper because copy paper is durable. You can let things dry on copy paper. This is just a piece of scrap stuff. So I'm going to take my white paint and break the cover right off of it. Roll this out. It's a little bit on the thick side because what I want to do is I want to saturate the paper with the white paint enough to stick to the black paint. Oh, I break my sheets when I'm so zealous. Okay. Where'd my copy sheet go? Really, Cherie? Yeah. I'm going to put the colored side up because I don't want it to try to do some sort of image transfer, which is an advanced technique that I have not learned, and I only get results when I'm not trying to. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit there for just a couple minutes so that it can absorb the paint and the background, and I'll be back. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off. And I'm going to clean it off with, actually, I'm going to clean it off with a piece of photocopy paper because copy paper is durable. You can let things dry on copy paper. This is just a piece of scrap stuff. So I'm going to take my white paint and break the cover right off of it. Roll this out. It's a little bit on the thick side because what I want to do is I want to saturate the paper with the white paint enough to stick to the black paint. Oh, I break my sheets when I'm so zealous. Okay. Where'd my copy sheet go? Really, Cherie? Yeah. I'm going to put the colored side up because I don't want it to try to do some sort of image transfer, which is an advanced technique that I have not learned, and I only get results when I'm not trying to. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit there for just a couple minutes so that it can absorb the paint and the background, and I'll be back. Okay, that was probably about 5 minutes. Let's see. Oh, did a nice job. Might be sticking a little bit much here. I've got a few pieces that are stuck. But look, I've got a mostly clean plate, a couple of little sticky things, and I've gotten almost everything off on that. So that can go back in at some point. Okay, before I go on to other shapes, I want to show you something. So see all these roll-off sheets? They don't look like much, but let me show you what you can do to them. Let's see. I'm going to try this one. This one's quite large, but whatever. I'm just going to try it. This is some sort of weed from the world. Okay, I'm going to take white because my roll-offs are mostly black. And I put a little bit less paint on this for now because I'm really just trying to get a single pull. Let's see what we get. Let's put this down. Sure, like that. I'll just take this one. Okay, I'm going to go over it. Same thing. You can't see as much, but you can feel them. Look at that. So interesting. There's still enough paint left on this. Let's just use this other sheet and pull it. Another yummy thing from a roll-off sheet, guys. This one, let's see what we've got buried here. This one's probably going to be, this is the white. This is what's left over on the white. Let's pull it. Without ceremony, just get it on there and pull it off while it's still wet, because if it dries on there, you're not going to be able to get much of the paint off. You can get it off with another layer of paint, but what I'm trying to do is get that pretty white image on top of this black roll-off area, which is kind of bony looking, but it is still pretty. So there's no such thing. There's no such thing as ugly when you've got botanicals. So, you know, I might want to try my next collage to be, let's just do this. Watch. Just a little bit of black paint. I thought I was done, but I'm not. I want I could just find something I've already used and not turn it into a project. That would be great. Okay. You and you and you. Oh, that reads pretty. Look at how the gray goes behind that. Let's try one more time. Let me just, let me just pull that off of this so we can move on. I want to get some geometrics because now I'm starting to wonder, maybe the next collage I do can be a lot of black and white. Pretty. And let's just do a half a sheet. Throwing stuff on the floor. And pretty. Let's see if there's anything left. See if anything will come off. Oh, that's lacy. Okay. Now, let's see what we can do about getting some non-botanical textures. Let me get back to my deli paper that I said I was going to use and haven't been. Okay. Let's do this. Let's try. I want to show you what happens with deli paper when you use white. I'm not going to do a bunch. I'm going to just do it up the middle. I don't need to do the whole entire sheet. I think you'll see why it's not the worst idea when you do that. Let's take this guy, that, and this deli. Okay. I love how transparent this gets. Okay, this picked up black paint from but what I want to show you is when you lay it down over something dark, it's going to show through. So let me pull this on this piece of paper. You go there. Ooh, look at the black paint on that. That's interesting. That is actually quite pretty. Can I... So any of you guys that are making jelly prints and you're stocking them up, because I was interviewed by the podcast, her name's Cindy, Beyond the Brayer, and I said, what do you do with your jelly prints? And she said, I just have them. Pretty. Oh, so pretty. She said, I just like to have them, and I have them as well. But one of the most common searches on YouTube is what to do with jelly prints. What to do. And there's all kinds of things that you can do. You can cover notebooks with them. Let me show you. Show you something. Notebooks from Walmart. Very simple, plain. They're this color. They're like $1 a piece. Notebooks from Walmart. I can't make myself use this one because I think it's so freaking pretty. I cannot use it. Look at these gel prints on here. Looky. So pretty. They take minutes to make. They will make awesome gifts. Awesome gifts for your family this holiday. Look at these things. What to do with jelly prints. Cover notebooks with them. Can I show you? I can. cover vases that you have or that you find at the thrift store. Cover vases with them. Cover, I don't have any made, but cover glass jars with them. Many, many things. Many, many things that can be done with jelly prints. Maybe one of my next projects will be covering a vase or covering a jar or something like that. So there's plenty of things that you can do with this stuff. I still want to make one more. I want to make a clean white print without black paint on it. So let me get to how that's going to happen. I haven't used these yet. These are eucalyptus. I got these at Trader Joe's. They are definitely stock. So let's, ooh, looky. All right, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Let's get just a scooch more paint on there. Yeah, I keep telling you, it's fake news, guys. We're gonna do geometrics eventually after I tell you that 5 times and then don't do it. Okay. Pretty. Yes, very pretty. Let's make it look like it's attached. And pretty. That's pretty stuck. These are stuck. Whatever, let's just do it. White jelly prints. These should give us a clean transfer without paint. And these do require these little tiny baby little, I don't know if those are flower buds or whatever. They require a little bit of love to get the impression. Will you get out of my way? I need something dark. I don't really have anything dark that I can get my hands on, but you can see, look at how subtle that is. If I put that over teal or something like that, that would be a white print with teal. So pretty. Okay, I'm going to pull this. I'm just going to use this sheet because it's not salvageable the way it is. And sometimes when you just keep doing this, you end up with something that you weren't expecting. And that's one of the things that's really fun about the whole gel print thing. That didn't really do anything. Get these back on here without sticking to themselves. Do I have anything? I don't really have I don't have a roll-off sheet. Let's put it on white and just see what happens. I mean on newsprint. I've got little flower buds under here. This probably isn't even going to read on camera because there's a lot of green on this. I must have used green paint on those before. Okay, now let's go over to, let's play around with, I want to do geometrics because I think they will play well with these. Okay, let's start out with some black. I want to bring these in. See those? Glue gun texture plates. You know, when I do stuff like this, when I finally get the inspiration to pull out my glue gun, I go crazy. I make a whole bunch of things. I've actually got a drawer full of these things, but none of them are my favorites. So I don't dig them out, but we're going to play around. This little squiggly thing, it'll pull off some of the paint. You can see it on there. I'm going to now I want to see how this pulls on deli paper, because it's been a while since I've done kind of something solid. I don't know if those textures are going to show through, but they might. Okay. It's curling up because it's quite wet. That doesn't look like much, but you know what it's asking me to do? Get out my Posca pen after I glue it down and putting white dots on top of that texture. But look what's left behind. I'm going to pull that on here because it's there, because I can. Oh, now that looks like Payne's Gray, but it's because I've got the white behind it. You can see the botanical behind it. Fun. I just dug these out. Now we're going to get into a little bit of masks and stuff like that. Okay, these are, let me see if I can tell what I cut these out of. I can't, but it's probably something like this. This was, you know, those page dividers, notebook page dividers. So those could make an interesting. Let's go black on these. It's going to be a mostly black experiment. I'm still looking for alternate shapes that I can put over things and have the detail show through. So pretty. I love these roll-off sheets. All right. I'm going to take, these can be a pain in the neck to work with because they're very spirally. But I coated these with birthday candle as well. Because they're such a pain in the neck to work with when they're not sticking together. Never mind when they totally are. All right. Deli. Well, that's actually fun. I think I'll get another one out of it. Yep. And then we'll see if we can't get these swirls on a piece of newsprint. Actually, let's try it on a piece of Deli. I've been pulling every single one of those with newsprint, but let's pull it with Deli. Okay, let's see how I'm going to do this so that these things don't. Here. These are a pain in the neck. Watch. See? See what a pain in the neck they are? It doesn't make them not worth having, but they are some work. Paint side up, guys. Otherwise you'll be, yeah, they'll become one with the paper. Okay, let's try it with Deli. It's still pretty grungy. I'm not sure if it'll be successful, but we'll find out. Come here, you. Okay. That, oop, look at, did the job, except for I didn't take the last one off. Paint side up. Let's do this. Just add it to it. There you go. Okay. So we've got the original, the second, and the third. Okay. What can I do? I've got a big pile over here. Okay. I want to play with, where's my masks? Okay. These are some of my favorite shapes. And I went through and I waxed them so they're not stuck. Look at, they're not even stuck to each other. It's usually one giant piece. Okay, I'll put that there. I'm going to, now let's just do with black on top of it. I'm very proud of myself for not pulling out another color right now, because it's really nice to have simple, not fussy prints to play with. Okay, so now I'm going to take I've never used these wax. I was like, the whole time I was waxing every single one of them, I was thinking, are you sure this is what you want to be doing? You want to wax every single one of these things, and maybe they won't like it, but it's too bad because now it's done. So we'll find out. They feel nice. What else do we have? Let's take these little shapes, which came from cutting off an edge of a stencil. Okay. I was kind of thinking that the wax might keep the paint from sticking to it, so I might get a clean secondary print. This is fun. Look at that, came off nice and clean. That's fun. I'm going to pull this next layer on a roll-off sheet. because I don't really love the secondary sheets. I don't know how you guys feel about them, but they're just maybe a little bit too grungy for what I'm looking for. Where's my thing? Here, this is what I want. I want this. Oh, I have to tell you what I did to this that I do not recommend. And now I have to, once my moratorium on buying is over with. See that? I don't even know if you can see it. See that big slice? I used a knife to clean paint off of it. Guys, it's silicone. The paint just comes off when you wash it. You don't have to wreck your catalyst wedge. Okay, there's an interesting page. You don't have to wreck your catalyst wedge. Okay, look it. I've got a fair amount of good paint left behind there. That's encouraging. Let's pull that on Deli. And it's got a little bit of that curly Q. So what I like about this idea is that I can take these, what are these called? Like a positive print or something like that? That would be, this would be like a negative print according to Kit Bell. And this would be a positive print. Some of them are good. That on top of something will kind of not completely disappear, but kind of disappear. Okay. Let's see. Let's pull that off on, let's pull that off with white. And I think I'm going to need a clean sheet for this because actually, get a piece of copy paper. Get a piece of copy paper. That way I can let it sit there for a while. Soak it all up. Get a clean sheet. Okay, so yes, the waxing of the elements was not a bad idea. I don't know if now that they're covered with paint, they're going to go right back to being sticky and I'll have to wax them again. But we'll find out. It won't be long. I want to play with these elements again. These are fun. I'm going to put something white on top of that. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that. That looks like just a clean off sheet to me. This has only been a couple of minutes. Let's see. Oh, look it. This cleaned it off nicely. That was not even hardly any time at all. Okay. You go over there. I should like to try. I'm going to, all right, let's mix it up. Let's put a little bit of black and some white. I'm going to spin that around. I'm going to put something on top of that. All my blobs, I'm going to have blobs on the background. My mom always asks, what happens if you don't spin those around? Let's find out, Ma. Let's find out. This, now that's a roll-off sheet. That is a pretty blue-gray color, though. All right, so I'm gonna use that white sheet. I'm going to do that. Okay, let's see what happens when we pull it off on here. I should have pulled it on Deli. Boy, I get easily distracted, guys, have you noticed? Haha, but it was worth it. Look at how pretty that sheet is. Okay, now let me see what happens. There's a lot of gray paint left on here. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Not even bad. Look at, that's going to read nicely on top of something. Now, let's see what we get for a final pull print on, sure, let's just put it on this sheet. Okay, are you guys getting tired yet? I've got a pretty good pile over here. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. All right, I'm going to turn off my camera and I am going to contemplate. And I'll let you know if we're going to keep going or if we're winding down. BRB. Okay, I did. I cleaned up and I organized these papers into, I don't know, kind of like how we pulled them so that you can see, we can review the results that we get. So, how will I do this? All right. So I don't know the order, but the first print, the first pull is always rich and dark, high contrast. How do I do this? The next one loses some of its contrast, but that doesn't make it any less interesting. Now this must have been an early one because see all this extra black paint around here? You may or may not like that, but that's the result that you get if you don't get it all off. If you're looking to get a really clean print, you might not want to pull the second thing on Deli. You might want to pull the second one on some sort of paper that'll be more absorbent. Same thing with this. You know, how do I do this so it's not hogging up the space? First print, rich, a little bit more textural. These are actually really fun because when these are chopped up, now this must have been further down the line because look at how clean this is. This has got just a little area of smudge, but the rest of it is really, I remember having these prints when I first started gel printing and having no idea how I got them. Now I know. It's the last pull. You want to put it on something absorbent, or you can. We pulled it on Deli and we got a clean print, so we got that. Here's another one. This is the baby's breath, the dark print, the smudgy print, and the pretty smudgy background print. This must have been early on before I was figuring things out. So I've got these beautiful botanicals, which I can tell you are going to read really nice, worked into some sort of a collage. And some of these are actually pretty enough. I'm not really sure which ones, but some of them are actually pretty enough where if you wanted to feature it as a main element in the collage, that you certainly can. All right. Put that there. This one, that looks like bird of paradise or something. This is, I've used this a whole bunch of times. I didn't get the detail between the leaves that I would have liked, but I got some nice detail. And look at this one. Look at all the detail of the leaves that it left behind. That's pretty nice. Then I finally said I was going to switch over to some geometrics. So first pull, This was actually, I know what I did. I pulled this. I pulled the second one on this piece of paper to get rid of all of the background. And I ended up with this, which gave me some very distinctive shapes. So that's pretty good. Same thing with this. I pulled this here. I put this. Don't throw away your roll-off sheets. Do not look at your roll-off sheets as garbage, because look at what happens. You know, this is not planned. I rolled off black. I rolled off some white. Look at these interesting shapes. Look at the way that breaks off. That is very, 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 very cool. And here's the last sheet of what was behind, the very, very last sheet. And then I got into these squirrely bugs. First sheet, second pull. Nice clean background. That would be fun on top of something. And then these were just random pulls, playing around. This one was interesting because this is what I pulled on the Deli, which I actually thought was the wrong side. That will be interesting with something over it. But once the paint was gone, look at this. This is actually a really fun sheet. And then these were just some experiments. Roll-off sheet with black paint. A little bit of white left over. That's pretty. These are all very, very interesting. And here is, let me try to do this and show you guys. Can you see that? Can you see the detail of that? I did exactly 2 sheets of white. This is so common for me. I get excited about a direction and then I forget my promises that I make. But look at this. See that? Any color that you have underneath this is going to look beautiful with that. These make really, really pretty greeting cards. Holiday cards, birthday cards. Anyways, so that's it. So while I'm saying goodbye, I'm going to reorganize these things. So my name is Cherie Burlington. I'm an artist, an errant, angel mom. My son Neil has been gone for 13 years. And I'll tell you something, when they leave, especially when they leave unexpectedly and you are traumatized by it, if you listen carefully and if you pay attention to what's going on around you, they are trying to reach us. They know that we're traumatized by their loss. They want us to know that they're okay. They are okay. Do I know where they are? Absolutely not. Do I trust that my son is all right? I do. I trust it. I trust it. So if you've suffered a loss like that, pay very, very close attention because the messages from them are everywhere. That was fun. Thanks. Thanks, guys. CherieBurlington.com if you're looking for pretty art on products. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I put up a poll. This video, I don't know when this video is going up, but I put up a poll asking you guys about channel memberships. If you see it and it's still up, would you please answer the questions and let me know what you think about them? That's all. I didn't even give you music this time. Some people will be happy about that. See you later. Bye.